All right, so we're getting a brand new X-Men #1, along with some other new titles. Moon Knight #1 has been announced, a spin-off, so that's pretty cool. And let's talk for a minute about that Red Skull Jordan Peterson debacle. Hit the like button while the intro plays, and let's talk about it. So we got some tea, got the iPad. Let's talk about some of this news, but before we do so, if you're new here to the channel, hit the subscribe button. It does help out a lot, and like the video if you enjoy it. You know, we've kind of been absent on the news videos this week and last week. It's been a lot of stuff we've been doing to get prepared for this convention this weekend. We're going to the Huntsville Expo. Really getting prepped up for that one, and I've been just killing it behind the scenes trying to get some stuff done. So was Dustin, so it's kind of why the news videos have been off, and to be honest with you, there hasn't been a ton of news. But today there was some cool stuff announced. Yesterday there was some cool stuff announced, and then we'll talk about what Marvel's doing with writers. Now, big news today. Interesting news. I don't want to say big news, but the Reign of X brings new XMen series from Jonathan Hickman, Gerry Duggan, and more. So check out the timeline for the new exciting X-Men launches. So a few years ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, Powers of X, House of X came out from Jonathan Hickman. Fantastic. I mean, wonderful storyline. A lot of people loved it. And then they went on this tirade, maybe is the best word, of 1,000 titles. X-Men, X-Force, your mama's X-Men, your dad's X-Force, Children of the Atom. I mean, Hellions, just 1,000 titles. That, you know what, just made it impossible to keep up with everything, and a lot of people ended up, from our circles of conversations, just dropped a lot of it. I tried to keep going on X-Force, and it didn't interest me, so I dropped all X titles, and I've been keeping up a little bit about kind of what's happening, but now this new Reign of X is happening. We know the Hellfire Gala is happening this summer too, so that's poorly executed event in my mind, but it is what it is. I'm more excited for the Heroes Reborn, but here we're seeing the new Reign of X, the Children of the Atom #1, which to me is basically what they did is took the New Warriors, because you know they canceled that because, well, I don't think that's hard to understand why, and they kind of toned it back like that much, and now they're releasing Children of the Atom. That came out. I don't see that one lasting. Way of the X #1 is coming out in April. Then X Corp. I'm wondering how many people are truly interested in the X Corp and X-Men Corporation. Like, does that really interest you? And if it does, let me know. That's fine. But that seems like such a stretch. But that's just me. And then of course the Hellfire Gala, June 2021. I think that's not going to do well. I mean, it's basically like a fashion event. Covers, some of the covers look okay. We did a little short on that, but yeah. And then we have X-Men #1, a brand new #1 from Gerry Duggan and Pepe Larraz. So that's, you know, I'll probably pick that one up. But they just relaunched the X-Men. I don't even think they're on issue 20 yet, and they're already relaunching. Okay. Then a classified one from Leah Williams and Valerio Shitty. I'm not good with names. It looks like it says Shitty. And then a secret #1 from Jonathan Hickman, and we don't know the artist on it because it says it's redacted. So it says stay tuned for upcoming launches. So I'm thinking if they're relaunching X-Men #1, they're probably going to be relaunching one of these other ones that, I don't know. But it seems like Hickman's kind of been off the driver's seat for X-Men #1 for a minute, and I think that's what's kind of turned a lot of people away from it. But I will certainly be picking up X-Men #1, and depending on what the Jonathan Hickman one is, I'll check it out. You know, we'll see what it's about. Now, in other Marvel news, we have Moon Knight. I'm so pumped about this Moon Knight title. Moon Knight #1, new mission as Justice to the Moon Knight you've been demanding by Jed MacKay and Alessandro Capuccio. this July. Now, this is going to spin out of that Avengers arc we saw, the Age of Khonshu, out of basically Jason Aaron's run. And that Moon Knight is awesome. If you did not read that, it is certainly one of the best arcs, that Age of Khonshu, and even the one after that, just phenomenal story arcs. So definitely check this out. And if you haven't read it, go check that out too. I mean, Moon Knight had Thor, he had Ghost Rider's powers, he had all of these amazing things. He actually held the Phoenix Fire for the Phoenix Force for a minute, so that was pretty freaking cool. So first Khonshu, the Fist of Khonshu, returns this July. Moon Knight, one of Marvel's most enigmatic and compelling heroes. I can't read today. I give up. Is back in an all-new ongoing series written by Jed MacKay and making his Marvel Comics debut artist Alessandro Cappuccio. He did Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Moon Knight #1 will spin directly out of the recent Age of Khonshu arc in Jason Aaron's Avengers run and promise to be a worthy new adventure for this fascinating character. That looks good. It sounds good. Age of Khonshu has been phenomenal, so that's going on sale 7/7, and I will be putting that on the pull list, something serious. Super excited about that. And then another cool thing real quick, if you weren't aware, Action Comics #1, which is First Superman, sold for a record $3.25 million. Whoa! And I believe this was an Action Comics 8.0. It doesn't say, yeah, it doesn't have the page quality like white, non-white, or whatever. But it is an 8.0 Action Comics #1, $3.25 million. Which is only $50,000 more, right? Because 3.2 million, that's 3,250,000. So 3.2 million is what it sold for last in 2014. Not this specific copy, but just the highest private sale. So that's pretty cool. $50,000 though is kind of, well, that's a lot of money to be made in just a few years of appreciation, but very, very interesting. Now let's talk a little bit about this, because I want you guys' opinion on this. Not really from a perspective of politics, more of a perspective of what you enjoy out of comic books and what you kind of seek and want out of it. So we know Coates put in his Black Panther run, this whole thing with Jordan Peterson, and you know, why, right? I don't get why these writers, they do these things. Bring your activism to the comic books. Like, why? We live in a world now where we pick up a cell phone, news articles are rolling in, you jump on Instagram, you can't escape the politics, you can't escape anything. A printed comic book is like one of the only escapes where you can go and sit down and say, okay, no politics, no news, just story. I know a lot of people right now are going, well, I'm not going to be offensive, I was going to make a funny voice, but comic books have always been political. Look at Stan Lee this and X-Men that, and that's fine, that's good, I get it. But we live in a little bit of a different world now, right? I mean, you can't escape it. And Marvel has been getting pushback after pushback after pushback on doing these things, and you would think, and not just Marvel, comic books in general, and you would think at some point they would listen to their fans and go, we don't want don't want social commentary on these writers' activisms or their personal beliefs. We want you guys to tell us a good story, right? And I get it, you know, I understand X-Men, what it was kind of stood for back in the day, but you know, back then it wasn't just plastered every time you turned around. Politics weren't as polarizing as they are now. I mean, if you have a single solitary belief different from one side or the other, there's no civil discourse. And for me, I really wish they would stop doing that. And I think a lot of times the writers will do something like that to create some type of buzz, get some buzz generated around their books. I mean, I've not heard in a comic shop or in the community or on an Instagram post or anything one time somebody said, man, this Black Panther run's great, everybody you should be reading this. I've not heard one recommendation for anybody. I think if Marvel and DC, would really focus on creating good stories and not trying to pull in the social commentary and focus on that, to where we're talking about, man, this story is phenomenal, you guys should go check it out. If you can write a good enough story to create that kind of buzz, you don't need all of that other stuff. But that's just me kind of giving a little bit of my opinion out there about it. Give us good stories, and I'm not talking about, this is a really broad-based topic and deserves a lot of conversation, right? So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Stuff like that, where you're throwing cheap political shots one way or the other, it just, why? These are comic books. Bring a good story, and if you're a good enough writer, you don't have to do that kind of stuff, and people are going to recommend and rave about your books, and they're going to love it, and you don't have the need for it. And I know a lot of people share that opinion. If you see the backlash Marvel gets on a lot of things, and Marvel, DC, these comic book publishers, they're getting a ton of backlash on stuff like this. So, and I think it drives a lot of people away. I don't see it bringing new people. I don't see new people going and saying, I'm gonna go read Black Panther because he made a joke about Jordan Peterson as being the worst Nazi of them all, right? Certainly is not going to bring anybody here. It's just going to hurt it. So why create, again, either side, some type of divisive rhetoric in your book? So I don't know. To me, it's, I guess this aspect of bringing activism into comic books, just not my thing. Whether it's this side or that side. Just what is it? C3 Comics says, just keep it comics. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Very interesting to see X-Men being relaunched. I'm so pumped about the Moon Knight, and $3.25 million on that sale. I mean, that is huge. Let me know what you guys think. Hit the like button, subscribe if you have not already, and genuinely drop a comment. Keep it respectful. I'd love to know your opinion, whether you agree with me, disagree with me. What's your, maybe your opinion is more severe one way or another. But just let me know. Let's talk about it, right? Civil discourse is a good thing, and something I think is missing right now. Let me know. You guys are the best part of Two Brothers Comics, and as always, collect your way.